hire people, even break bread with some of my mentors, that I grew up with. I'm able to like spin the block like, yo, I got a little bag for you to do X, Y, and Z, so just continue to pay it forward, right? And then also like I said, like showing the next generation that's coming up under here, like how did I get to where I'm at, and showing them how to go fish for themselves. And I think that's what's so important. Like you have to pay it forward. You have to share that information.
Yeah, I mean, when you walk through the door, you gotta hold it open for everybody else.
Yeah. A lot of people be shutting it though.
It's real.
They shut it, lock it, put 4 locks on it, and that's when we climb through windows though.
Yeah, get the big ass boots.
Yeah, for sure.
It seems to me you're clearly like a very intrinsically motivated individual, like you found your passion like relatively early. And it's inspiring a lot of people. In a school like this, it seems like people have this really beautiful balance of giving freedom and like supporting your intrinsic motivation, but then also having boundaries and accountability at the same time, balancing that. So I was wondering if you could talk like your perspective as a student versus your perspective now, how it's the same and how it's shifted around that idea.
I love that you shared that because talk about freedom a lot, even with my young people, and when at a certain age, when you ask, like, what does freedom mean? It's this sense of, like, I want to be able to do what I want, how I want, go where I want to go, and, like, just no boundaries to that. Like, there's no sense of accountability. So, like, you just want to do whatever you want. So, like, if you want to, get up and, go out and sell some drugs and get locked up, like, that was, freedom? Is that really freedom? So, like, no, like, freedom is not being loose. And I think a part of it is like experience, it's wisdom, just evolving in age. But I also think like when you got like a accountability partner and somebody to like have a certain level of excellence for you to reach, like set the standard. Like we need people to set the standard, right? And hold us to that standard. And we have to see that same person embodying that excellence too. It gets wishy-washy when you got somebody that like tell you to live a certain way or set a certain standard, and then they do something that's, below those expectations. So it's like, okay, now I can't really trust you or whoop-de-whoop because you telling me to do stuff that you're not doing. So I would say like, that sense of freedom, we gotta redefine what freedom actually means, to us, and us as a collective. Redefine that word. What does it really mean to be free? Is it being able to just do what you want, when you want, however you want, right? Or is it, more so about like, liberation and yes, we have free will, you're able to choose, right? But what are you choosing? Are you choosing to just, simply exist in this world? Or are you choosing to live? So like living versus existing. And overall, I would, say that like this school has done a great job with that, and us, we just got to continue to, redefine what freedom means to us for real, and change that definition, because especially at a young age, like, freedom, is kind of a loose term, but freedom shouldn't be loose. You gotta have some structure, you gotta have some values, some principles, right? Like our school values, family, respect, community, education, like has to be a sense of that for that foundation to be solid.
But they're like, no, it wasn't me. And I'm like, it could, just please wash it. Like there's not even, no one's really in trouble, but they're so afraid of being the one who admits that they messed up, that they didn't do the thing, right?
I was just about to say that. Afraid, it's that fear. We gotta maintain faith over fear, and we gotta be willing to walk through the fire with no fear. That's why my name is Blaze, by the way, y'all.
I love that.
My artist name is Lewiee Blaze. It's Lewiee Blaze because I walk through the fire with no fear, and that's so important. Like even in real time, like just to be transparent with everybody, like I just recently made a mistake, that's coming back, and I got to deal with it. And I went back on, some of my own creatures or whatnot, and I was afraid, but when I walked through that fire with no fear and I began to share like my real time situation with folks, that's when people was able to support me. That's when I was able to see like, oh damn, who's really here? Like, who really loves me? Like, Tony was just at my court hearing just, a couple days ago type deal.
sometimes I say it like, my mistakes are like when the Google link is purple. You know, you've already Googled it before, and so it's like, oh, you've been here before. Like, you can read the text again, you know? And it is this practice of like learning to acknowledge it sooner, hoping it happens less often. But like some of my little flaws are gonna keep poking their head up, you know? And so my job is to continue to be less harmful, quicker to apologize, more self-aware, right? But I think being honest, especially with young people, and you know, I grew up in a 12-step context. A lot of my family's in recovery, and so I grew up going to meetings, AA meetings, NA meetings, and I would hear people talk about like how the stories that they needed to hear were the people who went to rehab 9 times. It wasn't the person who went to rehab once. You could do it once, good for you. I needed 9 times, you know? And I think that shit is so inspiring to the young person who's like, well, I've already tried 3 and failed. But that person, they needed 9 and they made it, and look how, and they're going, you know? And so I just think that that's such an important part of the story for young people to hear. It's not that like our heroes aren't gonna fall short, it's that like they're human too, and they're gonna show us how to get back up. And it seems like that's where you're at.